Okay, hey everybody. Um, I know it's been a long time since I met you, but left those. How to go? Step 2. Anyway, this is actually a serious topic though. But I haven't been here in a while. Been doing some stuff, getting doing some business stuff, life and things like that. One main reason why I haven't been on here is because YouTube switched up this policy and I couldn't go live on my phone anymore unless I had 1,000 subscribers, and I didn't want to use my laptop, even though I had my laptop. I had my laptop prior to them making that policy change, but I was a procrastinator. Plus, the laptop webcam I had was trash, or well, not had, but the webcam on the laptop is trash. But this one is a step better. It's not the best quality, but it'll do. So anyway, um, you guys, um, kind of already know about what's going on with this Paul and Pryor thing, right? Well, Pryor's son. Now, there's a lot of people already reporting on that stuff. I'm not like a blogger or anything like that. I just come here and kind of give my opinions and whatever, because that's what it's for, right? So, so a synopsis of what was said. Basically, Paul did some inappropriate things when Pryor Jr. was a child. And I say a child because when TMZ caught up with Pryor Jr., he said it was well before the 80s, meaning he would, and he basically said it was, if, or well, he didn't say if, he said what happened to him basically was when he was a child. He was not of consenting age. Okay. So this is going to be twofold because, uh-oh, a little light popped off. I got to keep it plugged up so that it um, keeps its brightest, but nevertheless, okay, I'm going to put it down there. Ooh, kind of shiny. Anyway, so it's twofold. As far as what I want to talk about, the how the hush hushness of child abuse in that manner, and just in the Black community, we're just going to deal with that, okay? And celebrity worship, because this is basically two things that we have issues with in our community. We, for some reason, worship the stars, especially for a lot of you supposed to be Christians. You know where that come from? Worshiping the stars, right? Okay, star worship. I'm not religious at all, but to the point where you excuse everything. You excuse any behavior. Oh, except for, depending on who they are, if it has something to do with, alternative lifestyles, then, oh, everybody's in uproar. Okay. But outside of that, when it comes to this type of stuff, um, we defend them like we just know them, right? Like, because they're some celebrity, they are void of any illness, sickness, insidious behavior. They because they have money or they're popular, or they're void of behavior. I guess pedophiles are only a poor people's thing, right? Theft is only a poor people's thing. All these things, like where is this coming from? Why do we just don't believe when these types of allegations arise in the within our Black celebrity community, right? But I noticed though, when it be somebody white, and they done been accused of that type of stuff, we'd be like, oh yeah, that little monk sounds about white. We good at that one, right? But for some reason, for it's somebody black and they're popular, we like them. We are just, even if victims come out, oh, they're lying or they're fast or they're clout chasing. It's like we make all of these excuses, but I think that I'm thinking now, I say, why do we do this? And I think that we do this because, hell, in our own households, how that's what we do, right? We hide the shit. We make these children forgive, or we blame the children. There's all types of variances to that. When it comes about, the women don't believe the kids. They say you trying to take my husband, or I don't believe you, or they tell you to forgive, and God said forgive, and and all they want to preach to you, and what I'm saying, and all that other bullshit, um, just so they don't have to be the parent, which is which means that you're supposed to protect your child, and so that from harm, so that you don't have to be the parent. You just you don't have to deal with the situation and cut that person off. uh, we put our children in situations that are very harmful, physically and emotionally. And a lot of us that are on that bandwagon are always wanting to act like these people aren't doing anything to people. Some of y'all are people who have been told to shut the fuck up, or that ain't happen, you lying, all that other bullshit, right? So of course it's learned behavior, you know, with a certain aspect, to a certainty, to a certain degree, rather. It's learned behavior. So, but you know, as far as I kind of there to me personally, I feel like there is a high probability of of that man doing that. You got to think also too. This is like 70s, you know, and it was rampant back then, and it's still rampant. You know, still as far as grown people taking taking children fast. You see, so and it was rampant. And what was also a lot different is it was, kind of those things that you didn't really there wasn't a recourse for. It was you couldn't tell nobody. There were no real um, public outcry and shunness and laws against that type of stuff, uh, like it is now. I remember what what was I watching? It was something. Oh my god! But I don't know. Oh, I don't know what I was watching, but it was about a man who moved in the neighborhood. This is some white people though, but still, who moved into the neighborhood, had a wife and everything like that, made friends with his neighbor and shit. He was extra friendly with the kids and all this other stuff, and really, took them fishing. His kids, the guy that's telling the story about his neighbor, right? And he had, I guess, the guy had a couple daughters. I think, yeah, a couple. I think daughters. And long story long, I'm just cut to the chase. After a while, he ended up kidnapping his daughter and doing things to her. And I believe, like how they were saying it, it was like this was like this was like 70s, at least, or 70s, 60s, 70s. They really uh didn't it wasn't handled. It was like they didn't have it wasn't handled like it would be handled now. It wasn't like, "Oh my god," it was just like kinda like this man wants to have a relationship with my daughter, and it was twisted and turned because even like he got off at first, and then like the girl went and eventually was with him afterwards, like after they found her. It was real twisted. But it's sick. It's some sick shit. It's really, really, really some sick shit. Okay. It's really some sick shit. But that was kind of the thing back then, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't is shunned upon and like I said, like even now it's even though it's taboo now, you really shouldn't be doing that type of thing. It's real still rampant. There's a lot of cousins kissing cousins, and we as a society even perpetuate that in various things. Like I remember watching the Shade Room like months and months ago. Maybe it was the early part of this year or last year, where it was like it was a meme about it was this guy. He was nice looking, a younger guy. And he was like it looked like he was linked up on the side of a house, and it was a meme, something to the effect of, you know, this lady was saying something about lusting over him. That was his cousin, and even when people were commenting, I'm just reading the comments, and people was with the shits. It was like, so y'all fucking your cousins. It was to the degree where some people were like, I was like, you're outwardly saying that you know what I mean? So that like you're outwardly saying that you would fuck your cousin. Not to, I mean, it was a lot of women, you know what I mean? A lot of women. Like, really? Like, so you fuck your cousin means you fuck your brother. I mean, where does it end? Oh, we ain't cousins. You not my auntie's son or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, ugh? So it, incest and molestation, that shit is, especially in the South, that shit is so rampant. It's so rampant. And I don't care if they're children, and it's okay because they're children. No, it the fuck is not, because let's say 9 times out of 10, but there's a very high likelihood, a probability that one of the children, usually the aggressor or the initiator in the situation of them two kids, that person's been touched on by somebody older, whether it will be a babysitter, if they're 8, probably touched on somebody that was, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's not okay. Now that 8-year-old cousin is going to touch on the other 8-year-old cousin or 7-year-old. You know what I mean? No, it is not. It is not. Okay. There is something going on. And I'm just explaining different little scenarios and things that happen in our community. And we just, hey, well, on one end with the whole steam of EPS, okay, the island guy that, okay, oh, we outraged about that shit. That shit's nasty and stuff, but we sit up and we got this shit type of shit skeletons in our family. Okay, we make our daughters up to, that are 5, 6 year old, make them up and dress them up to mimic a grown woman's sexy attire like it's cute, and take pictures and stuff and videotape it like it's cute. You pimping out your child for likes, okay? Pedophiles take those images and they do trade them among themselves, and regardless, well, what are not supposed to be? They're still doing it. People aren't supposed to break into people's houses, but you still lock your fucking door, okay? So, you have we have porn genres that are called barely legal. Now let's back up and say, let's back up and review what porn is. Porn is a way to get off. It makes you aroused sexually, right? So there are porn genres there's a porn genre called barely legal. What does that mean? Well, that means that the actors don't look of age, which would mean that whoever likes them get off on pubescent looking girls and boys, because they have a lot of that boy on the boy side too now. A lot of those films. Now, when they first that genre was stepped on the scene, they were actually taking young girls that were not 18 and doing them films. Okay. Uh Obviously laws were passed. This is decades and decades ago. Obviously you can't do that now, but what they do is they take, like I said, like somebody, that's 19, 20, or whatever age, because they can really, there's some, like that one white lady that would play the natural born killers. Shit, she looked 12 till she was about 50. Okay. I don't know how many movies I've seen her in, and she looked like what wasn't she in Pulp Fiction or one of them? I want to say she was in a Quentin Tarantino movie too. You know what I mean? Looking like she 5, you know. Um she was probably 40 in that motherfucker, okay? But that's what they do, and they put them in the pigtails and the schoolgirl outfit. Think about that. Is that not grooming? Think about that. There are people that get off on little kids or preteens. And then the thing that trips me out that we unconsciously do, this is how we're groomed and we don't even think about shit. We have women, especially during Halloween, they'll have a schoolgirl uniform on. The sexy schoolgirl. Ain't no fuck. I don't I don't role play like that with no schoolgirl outfit, none of that shit. Cause it's like, well, nigga, what you getting off on thinking, pretending that I'm a child? And then you have women that are out here that do that shit. They don't even think about it. Like, because why? Because been on our faces, been in the movies, and they've done this in our faces. They even put the shit in the movies. There's been scenes where, the wife dressed up one or girl, want dressed to be sexy, and have a little scene or whatever. She might have that on, what schoolgirl outfit, what I'm saying. And being seen, it might, it's not necessarily porn. It could be just, they're doing a scene where they're being, this lady's being sexy for her man or a man or whatever, and that's what they choose. It's right in front of our face. They put it in front of our face. Don't even think shit of it. Don't even think that how what they're doing. But then, so how can you then turn around and be mad at the Steenups, land of Chow? Okay, how can you be outraged about that, and then you go put on a schoolgirl outfit for Halloween? But again, I think he did it. To a degree, I do think just because of the culture back then, it's more probable than not that he did it. You know, um, he let's keep it real. I mean, he doesn't. I mean, I've always questioned, like, was he bisexual? Is he a Little Richard type of guy? Bisexual or some other acronym or pronoun or whatever the fuck. Because Paul Mooney looks a little off. He's always have. Like, I always thought he was like a Little Richard, like swing both ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and I'm not saying that everybody that swing both ways or like the same sex prey on children. Okay, heterosexual people prey on children too. Up until I say the last couple of decades, you had a higher number of LGBT people. Excuse me, had high that the statistics for that group of people being molested by someone was very high. Like 70%. This is like, prior to about 15, 20 years ago. Those numbers have dropped within that community. But you would, 5, 6 out of 10 at least, where you ask them like, I was either raped by the same sex or a different sex. You know, uh, go to tell somebody, and this is another thing. Go to if you think this shit is not a problem, you think this shit is not rampant and it's so deeply embedded in our community. Go to tell somebody Facebook page. Read that shit. Read some of the stories of just the black people, men too. Okay, the age groups. There's people that are young. There's people older than me, like in their 60s and 70s, not 70s, but like 60s, 50s, and 60s, or at least they look like it. But definitely, not young. Someone people. So a lot of them people are like 45 and up. You can tell that they are, and just think of how, um, among other things in our community, how um, growing up as a black person and as a part of the black collective, right? Having that happen to you, the mental, how it affected you mentally, and how you acted out what was happening, and how it affected your surroundings, and how it affected how your thought process, which how you uh your relationships with people, personal relationships, general relationships, how you raise your kids, all of these things. Think about how that, think of that, and then think of how rampant it was. So, among just being black and the PTSD of being black, and the stresses of that, then you have that compiled on top of that, and so that could definitely, to me personally, contributes to the dysfunction of our communities. You know, for women, a lot of times, when they were molested, they were told to shut the fuck up about it. That's still your daddy, that's still your uncle, that's whatever, you know what I mean? And then never received any uh, mental health evaluations, or, never saw a therapist because the mother wanted to keep it hush hush, didn't want, and then, you know what I'm saying? Like, didn't want the person to go to jail. So you just sacrifice your children, right? So, then she grows up, get 13, 14, 15, whatever, start acting out sexually, or fighting, or drinking, or being defined in some way. Oh, now she fast, and everybody, she's a black sheep now, you know. You know, then that grow up, and then you're in a relationship, how you assess your environment and people, and everything's all fucked up. So a lot of times you think negatively about a lot of things. You see things that really aren't there in situations, and that fucks up a lot of your relationships with people, with men, nowadays, with whatever you want to deal with, or whatever floats your boat. It affect, a lot of people turn to drug use, okay, drug abuse, alcohol abuse. How they raise their children is fucked up. Some go to the far left, extra protective, or far right, extra protective, and the one to go far left, extra liberal, where your 15-year-old got their boyfriend laid up in the bed. Okay, uh, and for the boys, those. Let me tell you something. Ask a man that slang good pipe was the first time he had a sexual encounter, and I bet you it's in the single digits. And usually, the man that lay at him out, not just the one that's, yeah, he good, he good, yeah, he good, no, I mean that one would be like, have you like, man, stalking. A lot of times that man can't keep a woman. cheats a lot. Usually is not usually, but can be the side dude. Okay, ask him. He'll tell you eight, four. He'll tell you 11 by his sister's, by his babysitter or some shit. You feel me? Learn how to do fellatio at that age and shit like that. Ask them. The one that's what usually happens with boys. Oh, they're hypersexual, and then from that point on, that's all they're doing is bang, 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 and they have a lot of partners by the time they get older. This is most of the time. There's some that go the other way, not very often, where they shut in, or then they question their sexuality, or what I mean. It just depends, on it. But more times than less, most of the time they become hypersexual, and they um they can't hold down a relationship for shit, you know, because they have some issues with doing so. But I am going to okay. I'm going to not uh run this into the ground. But I'll just say, we need to stop um worshiping these celebrities. Okay. Y'all know that shit is rampant as fuck. You know it's rampant. You know it's rampant. You know. You do. Because a lot of times it's happened to you. And then for a lot of and if it didn't happen to you, you know a woman or a man that it happened to. Especially for black men. Half the women you done been with, done been touched on. And I'm pretty sure most of them you call crazy, or they was tripping, they was real trippy, and you know, had some, they weren't easy relationships, or where y'all was, you know, yeah. So he did he I think he did it. I'm about 80% sure, but of course they're going to deny the shit. But let's stop worshiping celebrities. Stop over sexualizing your children. Yes, people ain't supposed to be touching on your kids, but it ain't no, oh, it ain't my fault some grown man finds my child sexual. Bitch, are you dumb? Are you dumb? Are you dumb? So because what somebody shouldn't be doing, you're gonna put your child out there to be at higher risk of being violated? Are you dumb? But like I said, you still lock your door, even though people ain't supposed to be stealing, um, stealing your car or breaking in your house. But you have a car alarm and you lock your door, don't you? Um, if you've had, if you've been sexually assaulted, I don't care what age you are, I don't care how long that was ago, I don't care if you was 2 and you are 50 now. Please go to counseling. There's a lot of places in this country where you can go to where they have free and low cost counseling services, mental health services. Okay. A lot of them aren't, mandated reporter type of things, depending on what you're saying. If you say you done touched on the kid, they're gonna tell, but they're not going to be like, because I know that might be something that people are fearful of, like, well,